Sometimes life leaves us with questions that can never be answered. No matter how much time passes, no matter how much we search, the answers remain elusive. It's unsettling, even haunting, to think that some disappearances are never solved, and that the people who vanish leave behind nothing but uncertainty. Today, we'll dive into the mysterious disappearances of three famous individuals who, despite their fame, could not escape the shadows. Their stories are filled with speculation, conspiracy theories, and endless questions. Patrick McDermott, 1957. Patrick McDermott wasn't a household name. He worked quietly behind the scenes in Hollywood as a cameraman and lighting technician, leading a relatively low-profile life. But it was his on and off relationship with iconic singer and actress Olivia Newton-John that occasionally thrust him into the spotlight. Still, nothing could have prepared anyone for the way Patrick's name would eventually make headlines, because on June 30th, 2005, Patrick McDermott vanished. That day, he boarded a fishing boat called Freedom, along with 21 other passengers, for what was supposed to be a routine overnight fishing trip from San Pedro Marina in Los Angeles. The group set out to sea, enjoying the waters and expecting to return the next day. But when the boat docked at the marina the following morning, Patrick was nowhere to be found. His disappearance wasn't immediately noticed. In fact, it wasn't until nearly a week later, when he failed to show up for a family event, that anyone realized something was wrong. His ex-wife, Ayat Nikba, reported him missing on July 6. The early investigation didn't reveal much. His personal belongings, including his wallet, passport, and car keys, were found neatly stored on the boat. His car was still parked at the marina, untouched. At first, the authorities suspected a tragic accident. Perhaps he had fallen overboard during the night and drowned. It's not uncommon for accidents to happen at sea. But as the days passed, and no body was recovered, things took a stranger turn. Patrick had been facing significant financial troubles. He was deeply in debt, on the verge of bankruptcy, and owed large sums of unpaid child support to his ex-wife. These financial woes led many to speculate that his disappearance might not have been an accident at all. Was it possible that Patrick McDermott had staged his own death to escape his troubles? The idea took hold quickly, and soon, conspiracy theories began to circulate. In 2009, private investigator Philip Klein, hired by NBC's Dateline, claimed to have proof that McDermott was still alive and living in Mexico. Klein's team alleged they had tracked McDermott's movements through financial transactions and sightings in various locations across Central America. But despite these claims, no solid evidence ever emerged to confirm Patrick's whereabouts. Law enforcement never officially corroborated the findings, and the case remained open. Olivia Newton-John, in interviews over the years, has expressed her grief and frustration over the situation. She's spoken of the difficulty in moving on without closure, hoping that wherever Patrick is, whether alive or dead, he's at peace. To this day, McDermott's fate remains one of Hollywood's great unsolved mysteries, a case that has captured the imagination of conspiracy theorists and investigators alike. Richie Edwards, 1967. In the world of rock music, few figures are as enigmatic as Richie Edwards. As the lyricist and guitarist for the Welsh band Manic Street Preachers, Richie wasn't just another rock star. He was a voice of pain, struggle, and rebellion. His lyrics were dark, introspective, and often painfully honest, touching on themes like depression, addiction, and self-harm. Behind the scenes, Richie's personal life mirrored the torment in his music. He battled with depression, alcoholism, and a history of self-harm, all while continuing to create some of the most memorable and haunting lyrics in rock. But on February 1st, 1995, just before the band was set to embark on a promotional tour in the United States, Richie disappeared. He was last seen checking out of the Embassy Hotel in London. His car was later discovered abandoned near the Severn Bridge, a notorious suicide spot. This immediately sparked fears that Richie may have taken his own life, and the discovery of his car led authorities to believe he had possibly jumped from the bridge. Yet no body was ever found, and as time passed, the lack of a clear resolution led to rampant speculation and conspiracy theories. Fans and investigators alike clung to the hope that Richie was still alive, and over the years, there were numerous reported sightings of him in places as far as India and the Canary Islands. Some believed that he had staged his disappearance and was living in hiding, while others thought he may have started a new life, far from the pressures and fame that had once surrounded him. In 2008, Richie Edwards was officially declared presumed dead, more than a decade after he first vanished. Despite this, his body has never been recovered, and the questions surrounding his fate remain unanswered. For many, Richie's disappearance is one of rock's greatest mysteries. His legacy lives on through the music he created, but for his fans, the lingering mystery of what happened to him is just as much a part of his story as the lyrics he left behind. Bison Dell, 1969. Bison Dell, born Brian Williams in 1969, was a name well known in the NBA world. A talented player with an impressive career, Dell had it all: fame, fortune, and the adoration of basketball fans. Yet, despite his success, he walked away from the game in 1999, leaving millions of dollars on the table. Dell sought a different kind of life, one filled with adventure, travel, and personal freedom. His decision to retire at the peak of his career shocked many, but it was a reflection of his complex personality and desire to live on his own terms. Little did anyone know, his life would come to a mysterious and tragic end just a few years later. In July 2002, Dell set sail from Tahiti on a catamaran, embarking on what was supposed to be another thrilling adventure. He was accompanied by his girlfriend Serena Carlin, his brother Miles Dabourd, and a skipper named Bertrand Saldo. For Dell, this was the essence of the life he had chosen after walking away from basketball, the open sea, far from the public eye. However, by September of that year, all contact with the group was lost. Dell, Carlin, and Saldo were all reported missing, and the only person who returned to shore was Dabourd, alone. Suspicion quickly fell on Dabourd, especially when he was found attempting to forge his brother's signature to purchase $152,000 worth of gold. The authorities immediately launched an investigation into the whereabouts of Dell and the others. What they uncovered was both chilling and tragic. According to Dabourd's own eventual confession, a violent altercation had broken out aboard the boat. During the scuffle, Serena Carlin was accidentally killed. In the aftermath, Bertrand Saldo, the skipper, also died. Dell, in a fit of rage or desperation, was then killed by his own brother. In an effort to cover up the deaths, Dabourd admitted to throwing all three bodies overboard before sailing back to shore alone. The story took an even darker turn when Miles Dabourd, the key figure in this tragic mystery, overdosed on insulin in Mexico before he could be taken into custody by the authorities. His death left more questions than answers, as the full truth of what transpired on that catamaran died with him. To this day, no bodies have ever been recovered, and the exact details of what happened remain shrouded in uncertainty. Bison Dell's disappearance is one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in sports history. His life, once filled with promise, ended in tragedy, casting a long shadow over what could have been an extraordinary second chapter after basketball. These are just three of the many unsolved disappearances that continue to baffle the world. Patrick McDermott, Richie Edwards, and Bison Dell all vanished under strange and unexplained circumstances, leaving behind questions that may never be answered. Their stories serve as a reminder that no matter how famous or talented someone may be, the mysteries of life and death can touch anyone.